Now stand by for some strong words from Paul Scholes. He says he was surprised by Ruben Amorim's stubbornness in not changing his system when facing Everton's 10 men in the Monday Night Football. He says it felt like one step forwards and two steps back at times during Amorim's year in charge, but he still feels they will be challenging for European places at the end of the season.
It's a really tough job for him. We know that many people have come and failed since Sir Alex. And like I say, you feel like you're making a step forward and two steps back almost all the time. Look, it's a lot's made of the formation. I thought the other night was a big stubbornness towards it, really. If you think of the back three, Gary was mentioning it on commentary all the time, and you could feel the frustration in him, the frustration in the fans, and frustration in all of us that he didn't change it, because to have three against virtually nobody at times, it felt strange that you bring in an extra attacker, a player on. So look, I think that it's still a work in progress. They're still not in a great position in the league. They've obviously had a poor season last year, and it'll be looking to improve. I think the league's so tight, even from second right down to where Man Utd are, 10th, 11th, 10th I think. So a couple of wins and all of a sudden you're back flying again, and you're in positions where you'd like to think they can compete for, especially a European place this season.
While both Scholes and his former teammate Nicky Butt feel Kobbie Mainoo has stagnated under Amorim. Mainoo, a stand-up player for England in the Euros in 2024, hasn't started a league game this season, and Butt says he should consider moving on if he doesn't feature more regularly.
Yeah, I'm worried about him because he's a superstar. He's got into the England team at 18, 19, was one of the best performers in the Euros for us. He's come through the academy at Man United from the age of 7. He was there when I was there as academy manager. I know him as a person, I know him as a young boy, I know him as a young man. I know the talent that he's got. And the scary thing for me is if Kobbie Mainoo was playing for Crystal Palace, example, if he was at any other football club, bar Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, where it's hard to get players out of, Man United would be in for him in January for 50, 60 million, and it's sad because I know how much he loves football, I know how much he loves the football club. More importantly, as we all do, we know the talent that he's got, and it is a waste, and he's a player that we could do with. For a player of his ilk, he shouldn't be going on loan. Either the club want you or you leave. It's looking like the club don't see him as a starting 11, which for me is bizarre with some of the players that are playing. So if I was his advisor, I'd be saying, look, if you don't get in that starting 11 pretty soon, you need to go and get a new club that's going to value you, going to help your career go forward, and going to get you to the levels that you should be at, and we all know you should be at.
That's probably one of the most disappointing things for me is Kobbie Mainoo not being involved in this Manchester United team, because we saw how good he was 18 months, 2 years ago, and for some reason it's not quite happened. The manager doesn't seem to quite fancy him, but we all know the qualities he has, but the manager's just for some reason preferring somebody else, and that's something he has to deal with. I think he's dealt with it quite well at this minute, but at some point he will get frustrated, and as I'm frustrated with watching Manchester United at times as well, and especially with Kobbie Mainoo, because homegrown talent, we don't have many of them anymore, and now we want him in that team, we want him playing well.
Amorim, extremely impressed with Man United star who will be reinvented in new role. Kobbie Mainoo might be struggling for playing time, but his situation at Manchester United isn't as gloomy as many are painting it. The 20-year-old lost his starting spot since the arrival of Ruben Amorim last November. Earlier this season, the Portuguese tactician explained that Mainoo will have to fight for a starting place against Bruno Fernandes. Needless to say, this duel was never going to favor the England star, who has only made 3 appearances in the Premier League this season, all coming off the bench. Kobbie Mainoo has already won over Amorim, and the youngster had already requested a loan move last August after realizing that his chances of earning a starting spot had shrunk following the arrival of 3 new forwards, which resulted in a deeper role for Bruno. Therefore, some sources in the British media expect Mainoo to try to slip away from the door once in January, especially if Amorim is still at the helm. His main suitors in the summer were Napoli, Real Madrid, Nevertheless, Manchester United journalist Sully insists that the England international can still play an instrumental role in the current regime. In his latest update on the Centre Devils, the Carrington Insider reveals that Mainoo has left quite an impression on Amorim and his staff with his great professionalism and overall attitude. The Man United coaches are said to be extremely impressed by the young player. Mainoo's potential new role could be key to starting 11 return. Sully adds that the midfielder is highly regarded at the club and is now considered a role model for every United youngster who aspires to rise through the ranks and break into the first team. In recent days, it has been revealed that the technical staff have been working on transforming Mainoo into a number 6. This maneuver would allow him to earn more playing time, as he'd be competing with the less than inspiring Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte rather than Bruno. But if this plan doesn't bear its fruits, and the youngster fails to regain a starting spot, then a January move would well become a genuine possibility. Man United, Amorim hit new low with loss to Grimsby. Grimsby, England. Ruben Amorim will never forget his trip to Grimsby. He certainly won't want to go back. A 12-11 penalty shootout defeat Wednesday against a side from EFL League Two after a 2-2 draw in regulation was a new low for Manchester United and their beleaguered coach, and it might just prove to be the night when his grip on his job started to unravel. Make no mistake, losing to Grimsby Town is a humiliation for Amorim and United. Never before had United lost to a team from England's 4th tier in this competition. They had won their 11 previous ties against teams from that division, but it was the manner of the second-round exit that could put Amorim in peril. United had trailed 2-0, almost going 3 down before Cameron Gardner's second-half goal was ruled out for offside. But a late rally saw them haul themselves back to 2-2 with goals from Brian Mbeumo and Harry Maguire. Before a chaotic shootout, marked by misses by strikers Matheus Cunha and Mbeumo, £74 million summer signing Benjamin Sesko shot over from 6 yards with the last kick of the game. That should have been an omen for what was to come next. After witnessing his side lose on penalties, Amorim gave a cryptic assessment by saying his players spoke loud for me. It didn't sound like a compliment. When you play against a 4th division team, it's not the goalkeeper that costs you the win. It's everything. Amorim said, "It's the environment. It's the way we face the competition. We know that we are in a moment when people will pay attention to everything. It's going to be massive, every detail, and we show that performance today. So my players spoke for me really loud." United's hugely expensive group of players should have had far too much for Grimsby, regardless of its slow start to the Premier League season that has seen it lose and draw their opening 2 games. But a combination of the home team's spirit and organization and Amorim's refusal to accept that his favored 3-4-3 system does not suit his players led to United suffering their worst cup defeat in memory. There were so many side stories in this game, the poor defending by Diogo Dalot and Tyler Fredrickson, goalkeeper Andre Onana's hopeless attempt at dealing with a corner that led to Grimsby's second goal, the inability of midfielders Kobbie Mainoo and Manuel Ugarte to control the game and dominate the central third of the pitch, and the careless penalty taken and missed by Cunha that would have won the shootout for United.